All right, beautiful morning to you right here, listening to us on 89.7 FM. Time for Corporate Governance Platform, brought to you by the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, ICSAN. I am Funmi Omoburiowo. Today on the program, we want to look at transparency and disclosure. Joining us is Mr. SAMSON ILORI, ACIS Chairman, Oyo State Chapter of ICSAN. Is also a member of the Membership Committee of ICSAN. Good morning, Mr. ILORI.
Good morning, ma'am.
Thank you for joining us on the program this morning.
Welcome.
Okay, also with me right here is Mr. Kaode Ketefe, FCIS. He's Head of Research, ICSAN. Good morning, Mr. Ketefe.
Good morning, Funmi. Good morning to you, our guest, Mr. SAMSON ILORI, and all our listeners. Good morning to you all.
All right, let's take this message, and of course, we'll be right back.
The world is constantly evolving into a knowledge-based economy where skills and competencies constitute the lifeblood of public and corporate governance. You therefore need to empower yourself to fit into this new world by gaining basic knowledge and improving your skill set in the governance-focused disciplines. That is why every aspiring as well as practicing professional in governance field needs ICSAN.
ICSAN. What is ICSAN?
ICSAN is a leading statutorily established professional body dedicated to enhancing the status and practice of corporate governance and public administration. ICSAN members are trained as chartered secretaries and administrators.
Who are chartered secretaries and administrators?
Chartered secretaries are high-ranking governance professionals with a broad base of skills, unique amongst other professions. They are trained in law, finance, accounting, administration, strategy development, and corporate governance. In today's world, chartered secretaries and administrators discharge a wide range of duties and responsibilities, including functioning as chairmen of companies, executive directors, non-executive directors, company secretaries, risk managers, compliance managers, board evaluators, and corporate governance evaluators.
That is interesting. How then do I become a chartered secretary and administrator?
Good. Go to the Institute's website, www.icsan.org. You can also visit the National Secretariat of ICSAN at Plot 6, Elephant Cement Way, Alausa, Ikeja, Lagos, to get full information on how to become members. ICSAN, the hub of governance professionals. Information on how...
All right, so corporate governance platform right here. Like I said earlier, we're looking at transparency and disclosure. All right, Mr. ILORI, let's look at the terms transparency and disclosure. What do they mean? Hello, Mr. ILORI.
Hello.
Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay, I said the terms transparency and disclosure. You might want to tell us what it means.
Transparency
and disclosure.
Is honest and accessible communication about the activities of an organization.
Okay.
We have to emphasize three attributes, which are openness, honesty, and accessibility of communication in respect of the activities of an organization. According to the Nigerian Code of Corporate Governance 2018, it is the act of communicating and interacting with stakeholders with a view of keeping them conversant with the activities of the company and assist them in making informed decisions. In view of this, the board should adopt and implement a stakeholder management and communication policy that will be effective in management. Disclosure, on the other hand, is the process of making facts or information known to the public. That is pertinent information about the activities of the company. In other words, disclosure is the intentional release of information to facilitate transparency, openness, access, and accountability. According to the Nigerian Code of Corporate Governance 2018, the closure of all matters, materials to investors and stakeholders. Similarly, all matters set out in the Nigerian Code of Corporate Governance should be adhered to for proper monitoring of its implementation, which will engender good corporate governance practice. These two principles are important in corporate governance because it gives the shareholders and prospective investors the opportunity to know the runnings and the operations of any particular company.
All right. Apart from a few things you mentioned, is there any other relevance of transparency and disclosure in the context of corporate governance?
Thank you, Ma. Transparency and disclosure are relevant in the context of corporate governance as they afford the stakeholders the opportunity to know the activities of company through timely, accurate, and continuous information dissemination. This will invariably assist shareholders, and stakeholders, and even potential investors in making informed decisions. In addition, it gives a balanced and fair view of the company, including its non-financial matters. Transparency and disclosure also demonstrate a commitment to good governance practices and increase participation of stakeholders in the management of a particular company. It builds trust and integrity, and at the same time, it creates an environment for sustainable business operations.
All right. Is it possible for you to give us instances of situations desiring disclosure and transparent dealings in governance?
I can't hear you, Ma.
I want you to give us instances of situations desiring disclosure and transparent dealings in governance.
Hello?
Okay, can you hear me? Hello, Mr. ILORI, can you hear me?
There is a need.
Okay, maybe I'll try to reestablish.
Of an investor's portal on the company's website.
Okay.
Where the communication as well as the company's annual reports for a minimum of 5 immediately preceding years and other relevant information about the company should be published and made accessible to the public in downloadable formats. The board should also ensure that the company's annual report includes a corporate governance report that provides clear information on the company's governance structures, policies, and practices, as well as environmental and social risks and opportunities. The report should specify the nature of any related party relationship and transactions.
Okay. Okay. Can you hear me? Can you hear me clearly?
Hello?
Can you hear me clearly?
Hello?
Okay. I think I'll reestablish contact. Mr. Ketefe, let's take. Do you have announcements? Okay. Maybe we'll just take some announcements at this time, and then I'll reestablish contact with Mr. ILORI.
I think it would be better I should just take over from there.
Okay, all right. If you feel you should take over from here, let's do that. Let's look at some of the harms in not fulfilling the disclosure requirements and ideals.
There is a lot of harm in not fulfilling the disclosure requirement.
Okay.
Just like I've said,
All right.
a company that lacks integrity and requires, as regards the issue of disclosure and transparency, we incur legal consequences, apart from suffering from reputational damage.
Okay.
These legal consequences can come in form of fine by the regulators. And when you look at the socially responsible investors, they will refrain from putting their investment in such companies. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of harm in that.
Now, the place of transparency and disclosure in stakeholders' relationship, I want you to speak on that.
When you look at stakeholders' relationship, it essentially centers on optimizing the relationship among all entities and layers of vested interests in an organization, with a view to influence their attitudes, influence their decisions and responses for mutual benefit of all. As you know, this cannot happen in the absence of transparent dealings by the directors. So, transparency exists when information is readily available to other parties, because it helps to create informed and communicative environment that is conducive for cooperation among all the relevant stakeholders. So, transparency and disclosures help to foster harmonious stakeholder relationship.
Okay.
So the confidence other stakeholders have in the management will definitely impact positively on the company. So this kind of, if there is no adequate disclosure, it leads to anarchy and instability, and it can rock company and organization where opacity prevails. There will definitely be problems, just like I said.
Okay. Let's look at the institute. Now, does the institute have any form of training for corporate organizations on the concept of transparency and disclosure?
Thank you very much for that question. So it's remarkable that one of the cornerstones of corporate governance is the principle of transparency and disclosure. This is a principle that applies to any corporate entity even before it is born, throughout its lifetime, and even when it is being wound up, there are always obligation of disclosures. So the Institute has a lot of guidance materials on the concept of transparency and disclosure that any interested stakeholders can just have access to.
Okay.
The training department of the Institute also periodically organizes trainings on the concept. So a number of corporate entities have habitually reached out to the Institute to help them train their directors and other senior managers on the essence of the principle of transparency and disclosure. So let me say I will use this opportunity to enjoin other companies who have not been patronizing us to latch on to this offer by the Institute to request for specific training for their directors and senior members of staff, not only on the principle of transparency and disclosure alone, but indeed on all issues in corporate governance.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Kayode Ketefe, FCIS, Head of Research, ICSAN. And in like manner, I would also thank Mr. SAMSON ILORI, ACIS, Chairman of your State's Chapter of ICSAN, member of the Membership Committee of ICSAN, for also joining us online. Apologies, we know how terrible the network can be sometime. But let me also quickly remind you that ICSAN, that's the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, is the only professional body in Nigeria that is authorized to conduct examinations leading to the qualification of chartered secretaries and administrators. The program returns again next week, Wednesday, 10:15 a.m. right here on Echo 89.7 FM. I am Funmi Omoboriowo. Enjoy the rest of the day.